This is Film Masters. On this episode, we're making a long shadowed logo like this one that you can see on the screen at the moment, and we're going to be using Adobe's Photoshop CC. So let's jump straight into the tutorial. So first of all, let's go up to File. I'm going to select New, and I'm going to make sure that my project width is 1000 and my height is also 1000 pixels. I'm just going to call this my long shadow logo, and I'm going to use this obviously if I want to perhaps put it into my YouTube channel as an avatar, for example, or perhaps web design, whatever you want to use it for. So let's select create, and we have our nice backdrop. So the first thing I want to do is I want to change the color from white. So let's come up here to the color palette, and what I'm going to do is look for a something that's close to maybe a red. So I'll go down the bottom, just slightly off red. And then I'm going to select the paint bucket tool and just select that so we can paint the whole background that color. Now you don't have to use red. If you want to use a different color, that's fine. Get in there and find whatever color you want for your backdrop. Next thing we're going to do is either come over here and select the text tool or select T on our keyboard, which will bring up our text tool. The first thing you want to do is change the colors. I'm going to come up here and select white. So I want it white text and select OK. Again, if you want to change the color to something completely different, that is okay as well. So I'm going to just select the backdrop so that I can begin typing. My text logo is just going to be FM for Film Masters. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to come up to this drop down up here where I can also see a preview of my font and select the type of font that I want to use. So I might find maybe this one here. So this one's called Black Oat Standard, or STD. I'm going to select that one, and I'm going to make sure that I now come up and select the move tool just to lock it in. Now I want to make sure that my text is sitting central, so I'm just going to drag it and wait for the lines to appear. There we go, that's nice and central. I can also adjust the size of my text size by simply selecting the T for text tool, highlight it, and just come up here and I can slide and scale my text. And then select the move tool again to lock it in, just like I have. Another thing I can do is press Control T on my keyboard so that I can then adjust the transform of the font. And when I'm happy, it's just a matter of selecting hard enter on my keyboard. So once I've done that, what we want to do is make a shadow that goes off. I want it to fall off to the left-hand side on a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to press Control J to duplicate. I'm going to drop the FM copy, which is our text copy, underneath. And with that selected, I want to double select in this part here on the layers window, the text, come up here and change the color to this text to pure black and select OK. So if I hide the top text, you'll see that we've got black text right underneath it. And this is what we're going to be using for our shadow. So let's double select that. I'm just going to call that shadow, just so that you know what it is while I'm playing around with it. So what we want to do now is we want to press Control T because we're going to make an adjustment now. I'm going to come up here to the angular size and change it to 45 degrees. And that's going to be a 45-degree angle for the direction in which the shadow is going to be coming from. Now, if you want to have the text going, or the shadow for the text going another direction, for example, off to our right instead of our left-hand side, then you'd put in there -45. Now, just remember 45 because we will be going back in there and changing that back. Select Enter on our keyboard to accept that 45-degree angle. Now, there's a little trick to duplicating this, making sure that that shadow layer text is selected. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and I'm going to select the left arrow on my keyboard and watch what happens. I'm going to hold it down. I'm going to continue all the way until I see shadow copies to 100 or thereabouts. Once I've done that, I'm going to select shadow copy 100 or 101 as in this situation, go all the way back down and select the shadow base. And then I'm going to select Control E, and that's going to bring all of those together and make it so that our shadow is all one layer. Now what we need to do is press Control T once again, because we're going to be re-rotating this. And this is where we remember, for example, if you put a 45-degree angle in it, then we need to put it back -45. So -45 will put it back into the correct alignment in which we need it, and select Enter to lock that in. Now it's just a matter of just aligning the text and the shadow in the background. So I can move the font and the text around together if I want to, or just bring it in so I can align it. Now, if you like that look, that's fine. I don't. I'm going to reduce the shadow so it's not as dark. I'm going to come down to the fill, and I'm going to slide the fill. And as you'll see, it starts to reduce. Depending on what type of shadow that you want. If you want a harsh shadow, you can bring it up around the 60s and 70s, or if you want it to be really faint, bring it around between the 20s and 30s. However, I'm going to select 50% and put 50% in there. So this is a quick tutorial on how you can actually make your own logo, just basically using text. So you can use your initials, or if you've got a name like Michael, you can make it Mike, or whichever you want to do that. So if you want to become a Film Master subby, it's pretty simple. You can subscribe to the channel. You can like me on Facebook and or on Twitter. And until next time, don't just film it, master it.